let's go ahead and get started. Like I said, we might have a few more people joining us over time, and they can just jump on in. But just to get started, I'm using a blanket to pad up a little bit. It's nice to use a blanket because it kind of gets my hips up a little higher than my knees. A beach towel or a blanket will work just fine. And it's not totally necessary, but we are going to use it at the end of the practice for a little bit of restorative yoga. And then also I have 2 blocks available. If you do not have yoga blocks, books at home are always nice to keep handy and nearby. Not something that is absolute necessary as well, but it is something that's good to kind of bring the earth up to us when it's feeling a little far away. So we'll go ahead and get started here. Finding our space, kind of shift around a little bit, maybe use those hands to get those fleshy parts away from the sit bones. Growing tall in the spine, closing the eyes down. Let's roll the shoulders up towards the ears and then relax them down the back. Let's do that again with an inhale. Draw the shoulders up towards the ears. And with an exhale, release and let it go down the back. One more time. Inhale, draw them up towards the ears, and exhale, release and let it all go. Just sitting with the eyes shut down for a few moments. Kind of doing a little check-in with the body and seeing how it's feeling, what it's craving. And notice the breath. Notice where the breath is going, where it's traveling through the body. Is there a space that is feeling a little stuck or a little stagnant? Let's pay attention to that breath for a few moments and see if we can find full, deep inhales. And nice, letting it go, exhales. Again, let's see if we can find that full body inhale. And that exit of the exhale. One more time, inhaling fully. And exhale, let it all go. On our next inhale, let's dip the chin down towards the chest. Keep the shoulders rolled away from the ears and just feel into the back of the neck for a few breaths. Draw a line with the nose. Take a peek up towards the ceiling and open into the throat and into the chest. Very slowly release the head back to center, bringing right ear over towards that right shoulder. Hover the ear above the shoulder for a few moments. And then we're going to take that hand on the left side and just hover it above the earth. And if it feels good, maybe find a little bit of a gentle sway with that hand. Or maybe raise the hand up towards the ceiling and lower it down. If you find a space that feels a little extra cranky and needs some attention, maybe stay there for a few breaths and see if we can get a little bit deeper into that left side. Gentle that hovering hand, that palm into a fist, and just rotate that wrist in one direction and then the opposite direction. Feeling the connection all the way up the forearm into the side of the neck. Release the clasp of the hand. Gently bring the head back up to neutral. Place that hovering hand down onto the earth. We're going to stretch and reach that right hand overhead. So keep using that hand that's on the earth to press yourself up nice and tall. as we reach and stretch across the body. If it's okay with the neck, take a peek up towards the sky. Feel the rib cage expand with the breath. Press into that supporting hand, bringing both hands up towards the sky, returning the torso now towards that right knee, and then melt down for a breath here. Stay low to the earth. Walk the hands to center and melt down just a little bit more. Dogs are out there yelling at something. Press the palms onto the earth and rotate, coming back up to seated. If you are seated like I am, an easy pose, let's just switch out the cross of the legs, bringing that opposite leg forward. Roll shoulders up towards the ears and release them down the back. Let's repeat that on the other side. So now bringing the ear over towards that left side of the body, left ear towards left shoulder. We're drawing that hand out to the side on the right. Hovering the hand above the earth. Find a little bit of gentle movement, maybe some swaying, or some raising and lowering of the arm. Play here for just a few more moments. And then if you find a space that needs extra time, stay there. Just like that throughout your practice. You intuitively know what feels good. And so listen to the body and listen to what it's craving and asking for. Gentle the palm into a fist. And just find a little bit of rotation of that wrist in one direction and then the other. Release the clasp of the hand. Head comes back up to center. Placing that right hand down on the earth. Press that left hand overhead and open up here. So instead of hunching forward, think about guiding that chest open and that heart spins up towards the sky. Reminding that left hip to stay down on the earth as we reach and stretch and open in side body. Press away from the earth, come back up, turn the torso now towards that left side, and then bow down over the knee on the left. Now we're reminding that right hip to stay down. Starting to stretch into the lower back. You should really feel a good stretch into that outer hip as well. Stay low down to the ground and just center the body and fold forward one more time and center. Use those palms to guide you back up to seated. Coming back up nice and tall. Roll the shoulders up towards the ears again and release them down the back. You're going to keep the hands on top of the knees. If it's feeling awkward to have that opposite foot forward, then switch it out to that normal kind of feeling leg in front. Hand comes on top of the knee and just simply rocking forward and back. So guiding the chest through the arms and then rolling back up to seated. Let's do this a few more times. Rolling through the spine and coming up. Throughout this practice, you're going to find a few twists that is really going to help open and release any tension in the spine. And twists are also really good to release toxins in the body. So we're preparing the spine here, getting it nice and supple. And then slowly guide yourself all the way back up to seated. One more thing here, let's take that chest over towards the right knee, guide it across to the left side, and then round all the way up to seated. Let's do this a few more times where we're twisting over from one knee to the other and coming up tall. This is a great way to start to open up the hip flexors as well by using the palms to press down and using the rotation as we come around to stir up the energy. And the next time that we come upright, let's switch directions now, coming over to that opposite knee, draw a line to that right knee and then round all the way up. Finding a few more of these circles. And then come on up to center. Release the legs out long in front. And give them a little paddle and shake out. Flexing through the toes, rolling through the ankles. Might feel good to even add a little self-massage. Maybe taking the fists along the legs. Coming into stillness, let's point those toes up towards the sky. Stay tall in the spine. And so I'm going to think about stacking the head over the heart and the heart over the pelvis. So just leaning back, just slightly. Hands can rest on top of the thighs. Really engage by bringing those toes up towards the ceiling. And then point them towards the face. Pull up on the kneecaps so you can feel that engagement in the legs. Keep the shoulders away from the ears and that belly button in towards the spine. This is our staff pose, our Dandasana. And there's a lot going on with this, even though it looks like we're just seated. Keep the breath fluid. On that next inhale, let's bring the fingertips up nice and tall overhead. On our exhale, we're just going to twist over to the right side. So holding as if we have this great big ball between our hands. Inhale, draw the hands up. Exhale, twist over to that opposite side. Inhale, gaze, follows fingertips as we look up. And exhale to the opposite side. Move with your own breath, raising up and lowering over. Inhaling up and exhale, twisting. Let's do that one more time on each side. Twisting over, covering the hands, raising up, and then over to that opposite side. Raise back up to center, then lower the hands to shoulder level. Kind of pop those arms into socket here. Palms are facing towards each other and thumbs are up. We're going to start to find a little seesaw back and forth a few times. So waking up the core and also feeling a good stretch into the back of the legs. And you'll notice the further back you come, the more we feel that engagement in the core. And the further forward we come, we start to feel that waking up of the back of the legs into those hamstrings. Come on up to center for just 1 second, and then start to tip back. Tip back just a little bit more. Just a little bit more. Should feel this good shake in the body. That's our nervous system kicking in and making great changes. And if you don't feel that shake, tip back a little bit more. And even if you do feel that shake, tip back a little bit more. Hold. Hold the posture, not the breath. Stay here with me. Engage in the core. Pull yourself back up to seated, and then we'll melt forward. Bringing the hands to the ankles, to the feet, or maybe they just rest right along the shin line. Take a few breaths here. Then slowly raise all the way back up to seated. We're going to swim the legs around and come to our tabletop position. You can use that blanket or that beach towel to kind of pad up the knees. One place I don't have extra padding is at my knees, so I like to use a little something there to kind of protect them. When we come into our tabletop position, we're going to bring those hands right underneath the shoulders. Throughout the practice, when we're on our hands, we want to make sure that we keep the fingertips nice and wide, and we rotate the hands slightly out. So we create that L shape coming towards the front. So hands are right underneath the shoulders, and knees are stacking right underneath the hips. Important in our tabletop position and throughout is to bring that belly button in towards the spine, so we're engaging in the core. Feel the hands pressing into the earth. And just take a couple breaths here for a moment in our tabletop position. Start to very slowly start to bring that tailbone in towards center. So we're tilting the pelvis, and we start to round into the upper back, bringing chin down towards the chest. Into our cat pose. Round just a little bit more as if you're a Halloween cat. And then starting at the tailbone once again, press that tailbone back. Dip the belly down, hollow out the back, find a back bend coming into our cow pose. Start to make this movement a little bit more fluid. Dipping chin in towards chest, rounding into the back. Dipping tailbone back, come into our cow. A few more rounds. And you're always welcome to find any extra movement here. Maybe some hip sways, maybe some head nods, whatever feels good. And when we're ready, we'll be back again into that neutral back in our tabletop position. Let's just do a little bit of work into our wrists and into our hands. So slowly start to turn the palms so that they're facing towards the body. If this feels too intense, then just keep them out to the side. And then start to tip back and forth. So you'll notice the closer that you bring them towards the body, the more intense this is going to feel. Find that level of the stretch that is working for your wrists. Try to keep that thumb down on both sides. If it is also feeling like too much, feel free to work into one hand at a time. An area of the body that needs love that we forget about a lot until it's screaming at us is this wrist and hand area. If you're working in one hand at a time, go ahead and make sure to switch out and get that other hand a good stretch. Finding some stillness, we're going to bring the hands back around to the front. Raise up onto those knees and just rotate the wrists out a few times. Coming back down, last thing with the hands, we're going to turn now so that I'm bringing the top of the hand down onto the earth. Fingertips are facing towards the body. This can be very intense. So make sure to find that level of comfort, that level of stretch here. We just want the sensation without any pain. You can do both hands or one hand at a time, keeping the thumb down. Again, you can find that edge of the stretch of maybe coming back and forth in a little rocking movement. Or maybe just walking the hands a little closer to the body and holding. Wherever you're at, make sure to still breathe. And just really notice the sensation of the stretch. It's not something that we normally do. So the body may be reacting in a way that you're unfamiliar with. If you're working in one hand at a time, go ahead and switch out to that other hand. And when we're ready, we'll come up onto fists for just a moment. Walk the hands up the legs, come back into that kneeling position. Interlace the fingertips here and find a little sway with the hands, snaking them back and forth, feeling the work in the wrists. Take the hands out to the side, give them a little shake out. And then bring the palms back down to the earth into that tabletop position. We're gonna get up off of these knees in just a moment, I promise. First, let's go ahead and take those elbows and we're gonna place them down exactly where we had those palms. So bringing those elbows down, keep the tailbone up towards the sky, and then release the chest and the forehead down. So getting a nice opening into back body, opening the heart into our puppy pose. So that tailbone is up nice and high, and those elbows are as wide as the yoga mat. Take a few breaths. Peel the forehead up off of the earth, come back. Walk those hands, just one handprint in front of the shoulders. Tuck our back toes underneath. We're going to very slowly start to shift the hips up towards the ceiling and finding our first downward facing dog. In this first downward dog, you might want to pedal out the feet a few times, bending into the knees, straightening one leg at a time. Just give a few moments to play here. Might also feel good to nod the head side to side. Coming into some stillness, reminding those heels to come down to the earth. They may not come all the way down, and that's just fine. And we want to think about the biceps rotating towards the front of the mat and that head to hang heavy. No extra help here, just letting that gravity work and feel this full body stretch. Keep bringing that tailbone up high. Not locking out the knees, keeping at least a little a little bend in the knees. Together, let's take a nice deep inhale through the nose. And an open mouth exhale, sigh it out and let it go. Careful of any props if you want to move that blanket or that towel out of the way. Bend into the knees, take a peek forward. Then we're going to just take a few steps all the way to the front of the yoga mat. When we arrive to the front of the yoga mat, allow the head to be heavy here, and the feet are a little bit wider than hip width apart. Just take a few moments to melt the head down in our forward fold. If hamstrings are feeling tight at all, put a bend into the knees. Might feel good to sway a little bit side to side. If you're holding on to the elbows, release them now. Bring the hands to the shins and find a halfway lift, flat back. Tuck in the chin so we can extend the crown of the head a little bit more. Release down, forward fold. Bend into the knees, sweep the fingertips all the way up above head, tall mountain. Gentle palms into heart center and pause for just a moment to feel that flush of energy. Inhale, fingertips come up. Take the arms apart and then swan dive all the way down, forward fold. Hands come to the shins and find that half lift again. Melt down, forward fold. Bend into the knees, reverse that swan dive, bring the hands all the way up overhead, and then gentle palms into heart center. Let's do that one more time. Pressing into the palms, bring them above the head, open up the arms to the side, and fold all the way down, forward fold. Hands come to the shins, halfway lift, flat back. Melt down, forward fold. Bend into the knees, take those arms out to the side, reverse the swan dive, bring the palms above the head, and then gentle the hands into heart center. Roll shoulders down and away from the ears and pause for just a moment. Inhale, extend the hands overhead. Take a hold of that right wrist and dip over to the left side. Inhale to center. Exhale, take a hold of that opposite wrist, and we're going to dip over to now our right side. Inhale, back to center. Release the clasp of the fist. Open out, cactus the elbows, bring those shoulder points together. When we open up like this, we still want to keep that belly button and those floating ribs in so that we're not splaying out in the lower half of the body. So it's a back bend of the upper part of the body. Inhale, fingertips come above the head, and then melt all the way back down, forward fold. Plant the hands onto the earth. Step one foot back, then the other foot back, downward facing dog. Shift forward to plank for just a moment, then lower the knees down to the earth. Walk the hands underneath the shoulders again. Extend that right foot behind and raise it up to hip level. Keep the knee down towards the earth and distribute the weight evenly into the shoulders so we're not swaying to one side. Bring the knee in towards center and the nose towards knee. Round into the upper back. Extend the leg long, look forward. Knee comes in towards center, hover for a moment, then extend long. One more time, draw that knee in, bring that knee up towards the rib cage, round into the upper back, hover for a moment, then extend long. Draw that knee up and in through and plant it down onto the earth. This is that place that those blocks or those books can be handy, is to bring them kind of framing that front foot. Take the hands to the top of the thigh and grow tall here, stacking the shoulders above the hips, keeping that front knee in line with that ankle right below, pressing into all four corners of the feet. Inhale, fingertips raise up tall. Keep those shoulders down and away from the ears. Inhaling and exhaling. Left hand comes forward as that right hand comes back and we twist here. Inhale, fingertips come up. Exhale, twist to that open side. So now bringing that right hand forward, left hand back. Inhaling, fingertips come up. Cactus the heart open. Bring those shoulder blades together. Take the arms out into a wide T, and then we're going to bring the palms towards the front to tuck the chin in towards chest. A little bit of a balancing act here. Open out. Chin comes in towards chest, palms come towards each other. Open out again. One more time, tucking in, palms towards each other, and then press open. Inhale, raise the hands up, lowering that left hand down to the earth on the inside of the leg. Open up here by bringing that right hand, stacking the shoulders, twisting open. Release the palm to frame the front foot. Tuck the back toe underneath, bring that knee up off of the earth, and then lots of buoyancy, step that back foot to meet front foot, Meet in forward fold. Halfway lift and melt down. Bend the knees, sweep the hands all the way above the head. Take a hold of the right wrist, dip over to the left side. Step that right foot behind, and let's open up into a little more in the side body. So I'm stepping that right foot behind the left and opening up a little bit more here. Release the leg, release the hand, and come back around to center. Let's do that on the opposite side. Raising hands up. Take a hold of that left wrist. Dip over to the opposite side. Step the foot behind and open here. See if we can press the heart up towards the sky. Take a breath. Release the clasp of the hand, release the cross of the leg. Inhale up and exhale, melt all the way down, forward fold. Halfway lift, flat back. Melt down, forward fold. Place the hands onto the earth. Step one foot back, then the opposite foot back, downward facing dog. Lower forward onto the knees. And then we'll find that kickback on that right side now. Excuse me, left side. Ooh, we went overwork one side. Extending that left leg behind, tuck the toe down. Not coming any higher than hip level. Press evenly between the palms, and then draw that knee in towards center, round into the upper back. Extend long. Knee comes in, round into the upper back. Extend long. One more time, bring it in, hover for a moment. Extend long. Guide that knee into center. You can give it a little hand too if you'd like to right here and bring it up to the front. Setting ourselves up for this low lunge. Bring the hands to the top of the thighs so we find that stability. If we're feeling off balanced at all, just railroad track, bring that leg out a little bit wider. Bring the palms up towards the sky. Roll shoulders down and back. And take a moment to really feel the stacking of all of our alignment here. Right hand comes forward, left hand comes back, twist open. Inhale, sweep the fingertips up and twist to the opposite side, bringing that left hand forward. Inhale, come back up to center, cactus open. Bring the hands out into a wide T. Tuck the chin in towards chest, palms come towards each other. Open out. Inhale in. Exhale, open. Inhale in. Exhale, open. Raise the hands back above the head. Right hand comes down to earth. Stack that left hand above the shoulder and reach and stretch towards the sky here. Palm comes down to frame the foot. Tuck that back toe underneath. Raise the knee up off of the earth. Step that foot forward, and we meet at the top of the mat in forward fold. Half lift, flat back. Melt down, forward fold. Really press into the feet, bend into the knees. Come all the way up, tall mountain. And then gentle the palms into heart center. Inhale, fingertips come up. Exhale, sweep all the way back down, forward fold. Halfway lift again, and then melt down. Bend the knees, sweep all the way up, tall mountain. Take a hold of that right wrist, dip over to the left. Step that right foot behind and open up into side body. Release the wrist, release the foot, and come back around. Do that on the other side. Raise the palms up. Take a hold of the wrist, dip over. Back foot steps behind, open up. Come back around to center, release the wrist, release the foot. Inhale, sweep up. Exhale, melt down, forward fold. Plant the hands, step back. Downward facing dog. Yogi's choice to come into plank, full plank, or lower the knees and come into half plank. Walk the hands underneath the shoulders and knees underneath the hips. Come back again to that tabletop position. We're going to add on here. So taking that right foot back, bring the heel up to glute, about hip level, toe is dialed down. Opposite hand comes out front and reaches into that front direction as that heel reaches towards the back of the mat. Elbow and knee come in towards center, round into the back. Extend both leg and arm long. Inhale to center. Exhale to extend. Inhale to center, hold and hover. Extend again. Place the palm down, bring that foot up and around to the top of the mat, coming into our low lunge. Palms come to the top of the thighs, raise up. Inhale, sweep the hands up. Right hand comes forward, left hand comes forward, right hand comes back, twist open. Inhale, rise up. Opposite hand comes forward, twist here. Inhale, sweep the hands back up, cactus open. Find more of a back bend, shine that heart up. Take the arms out into a wide T. Tuck the chin in towards the chest, bring the palms towards each other. Open out again to that T. Dip the chin in, bring the hands forward. Again, out to a T. One more time, coming in, and then opening out. Palms raised back up. Now taking that left hand down onto the earth, stack shoulders and twist here. Press into that hand, come back up and draw the hands into heart center. I'm going to find one more twist here. So turning the torso over towards that right side, bring that left elbow on top of the right thigh and twist. So bringing that sternum around to the thumbs. Keep breathing. Come back around to heart center with the palms. Raise the hands up, then lower the hands to meet that, or to frame that front foot. Tuck back toe underneath. Raise the knee up off of the earth. So listen up here, we're just switching this up a little bit. We're gonna step that back foot up about 2 steps, coming into a wide pyramid pose. Take the hands to the hips and rise all the way up. Center the hips. So I want you to think about that back hip, so that right hip, or left hip, is coming towards the front of the mat, and that front hip is reaching towards the back of the mat. Both legs are straight, but we're not locking out the knees. Guide the chest forward and hinge at the waist here. Hold. You can stay right here if this is enough of a stretch in the back of the hamstring of that left leg, or right leg, whoosh. Or you can come down and bring the nose down towards the knee. Blocks or books are nice here to bring the earth up to you. Keep breathing. If it's taking your breath away, then you've gone too far, and just come back into that half lift. Bring the hands to the hip line. Slowly rise all the way back up to standing. Back foot is going to step to the front of the mat. So all of the weight is going to stay into that right foot as we cross that left foot over top. We're going to come into a standing pigeon, which can be a little bit difficult, so you can use a wall for balance, or you can bring the hands to the heart center, just like we had them at the sternum, and bend into that knee and have a little seat in a chair. Keeping that top foot nice and flexed and bright. Breathing here. This is challenging, but you've got this. Straightening the leg, release that foot down. Give it a little shake out, a little pedal out. And then inhale, sweep the hands up. Exhale, melt down, forward fold. Halfway lift and melt forward again. Place the palms onto the earth, step back, and downward facing dog. Notice how the body's feeling warmed up and hopefully a little bit different. Should probably be feeling pretty stretched out, especially in that right hamstring since we did that work there. Guide forward into plank or half plank, then lower the knees down to the earth. Let's repeat that on the other side. So now extend that left leg back and behind, bringing it up to hip level. Keep the hips shining down, so I'm not opening up at all here. Taking that right hand forward, thumb is up. Knee comes into chest, elbow comes into chest or into center, round. Extend long. Again, knee and elbow come into center, round. Extend long. One more time, bring it in and hover. Extend long. Place the palm down onto the earth. Bring that knee all the way up and through and place it down. Finding our low lunge here. Bring the hands to the top of the thighs. Find stability and then raise the palms up. Take a nice deep inhale. Center the body on that exhale. Right hand comes forward, left hand comes back, twist. Inhale to sweep up, and exhale, twist. Keep pressing into that front foot, opening up. Coming back again to center. Cactus and find a heart opener. Hands come out into a wide T. Chin tucks in, palms come towards the front. Open out. Again, tuck in. Open out. One more time, tuck it in. And then open out. Hands raise up. Lower that left hand, or excuse me, right hand, whoosh, down onto the back. Stack that left hand over, stacking shoulders and breathing. Press into that palm, raise both hands back up, and then bring them into heart center. Turning over to that left side, bring that right elbow on top of the thigh. Twist here. See if we can bring that belly to the thigh and that sternum to the thumbs. Open here. Guide back around to center. Raise the hands up last time. Lower the hands, lower the chest down. Tuck that back toe underneath. Raise the knee up off of the earth. Step that foot about 2 steps forward. Finding our wide pyramid here. Hands come to the hips and rise all the way up for just a moment to make sure that we're getting our alignment. So both toes, both sets of toes are facing towards the front of the mat and the hips are staying square. Hinge at the hips and bring that chest forward. Keeping both legs straight but not locking out the knees. If this is enough of a sensation of a stretch, just stay here. Or for more, we can bow all the way down, bringing the nose towards the knee. Check in, because a lot of times we like to start to bring that front hip around. See if you can keep pressing that front hip towards the back and that left or right hip towards the front. Bring the hands to the hips and slowly rise all the way back up. All of the weight is in that front foot. Guide that back foot up, around, and cross that ankle over the top of the knee. Using a wall for support or bringing the palms into heart. Have a seat down. Flex the foot, roll the sternum to the thumbs, and breathe. See if we can bring that knee, that left knee, or excuse me, right knee down towards the earth so we can open up in that hip just a little bit more. Slowly straighten back up, release the leg, and march it out. Let's add a little bit of arm sway, shifting the arms side to side. Inhale, fingertips come up. Exhale, melt all the way down, forward fold. Pause here for just a moment and notice the difference in that forward fold. Feel how the backs of the legs are feeling hopefully stretched out. Place the hands down onto the earth and step one foot at a time back again. Last downward facing dog. Lower the knees down to the earth. And then we're just going to bring those elbow points down, just like we did earlier for our puppy pose. But this time we're going to bring the bottom all the way down to the earth, I should say the belly. So take a moment to kind of shift around here and find our Sphinx posture. So stack those elbows right underneath the shoulders. Roll back, this is a generous back bend. If you feel any pinching in the lower back, walk the feet a little bit wider. Chest is forward, gaze is forward. Now release the chin down towards the chest. Keep rolling those shoulders back. And feel this nice stretch into the back. My dogs are going absolutely crazy. They've been locked inside all day. Sorry for the noise. Keep breathing. Feel the rise and the fall of the belly onto the earth. And then very slowly bring that chin over towards that right shoulder and peek over the right shoulder. Release the chin down to the chest. And then draw the chin over to that opposite shoulder, peeking over that left shoulder. Coming back around to center. We're going to walk the hands underneath the shoulders. Press up one more time to the knees, but this time bring the big toes to touch, knees nice and wide as we shift back into a wide-legged child's pose. Take a few moments to kind of shift the hips a little bit side to side, really getting seated down into the pelvis, and then extend the hands all the way to the front of the mat. Melt forehead down to the earth, and take breaths into back body. Slowing the breath down. Peel the forehead up off of the earth and walk the hands back. Center the knees over, and we're going to come into a seated position. Just take a hold of that blanket or that beach towel that I mentioned earlier, and we're just going to keep it nearby. But first, before we go down onto our backside, let's just roll it into a nice little roll here. So it's a nice little burrito, and just put it right beside you for when we need it in just a few moments. So place the soles of the feet down to the earth, and very slowly take your time to come down to backside. When we arrive onto our back side, let's draw those knees in towards the chest and give a little hug and squeeze. Draw circles in one direction. Should feel really good to massage out the sacrum area and our kidney meridian. Reverse the circle to the opposite direction. And squeeze the knees in once more. Release the soles of the feet down to the earth. Walk the feet as wide as the yoga mat. Take the hands out into a nice wide T or a cactus shape. And we're just going to start to draw one knee in towards the center, just windshield wipering slowly, one knee at a time, getting that external rotation of the hips. And then knees come back up towards the sky. Walk the feet so they're nice and together. We're going to shift the hips over towards the left side of the mat and then allow the knees to just waterfall gently to the right side of the mat. So we're getting a twist here, stacking knees on top of each other and taking a peek over the back shoulder. As I mentioned in the beginning of this class, how much twists are so great to detox the body, but one of the reasons why is because we actually cut off blood flow for a few moments when we're twisting, and then when we release that twist, we flood the body with fresh, rejuvenated blood. Center the head. Press the palms down so that you can engage and bring the hips back around to center. Now, hands, legs or toes, oh gosh, just totally lost wording. Feet are down onto the earth. Shift the hips over now to that right side, and then the knees waterfall to the left. Finding twist on the opposite side, and arms of your choice, whether you're having them in a cactus, a Y, or maybe overhead. Gazing over that back shoulder to complete the twist, and find a few deep belly breaths. Bringing out the spine with the breath. Turn the head back up skyward and very slowly bring those legs back around. So just push up for a moment so we can find that prop. Taking this blanket and or beach towel, whichever you have, I'm just going to bring it right down to the base of my spine so it's right above the glutes. Very slowly lower the body all the way down. Keep the knees bent for just a moment. So find a moment to kind of shift and adjust, and this is on the length of the spine. I like to think about my shoulders kind of wrapping around, giving a backward hug here. That lower half of the body, couple options. You can keep the knees bent, or it might feel good to bring the feet together, knees out to the side into a reclined butterfly. Or another option is to extend them out long towards the base of the mat. Also a few options with the arms. They can stay resting right beside the hips. They can come into that cactus shape that we had with a twist, or they can raise above the head. So just play for a few moments with that lower part of the body and that upper part of the body, finding this perfect space to restore in. And when you find that space, go ahead and just melt that heart open. Bring that chin away from the chest so we can breathe easy here. Letting it all go. Remove any tension from the face. Long, deep breathing. And ask yourself, where can you soften? What can you surrender? Deepening our breath a little bit more. Bringing our energies back to this present moment. If you have the legs extended or the arms extended, lower the arms down. Fold the knees once more, so we're bending the knees up skyward. And very gently just roll off the prop and come into our fetal position. Knees are bent and stacked, and that bottom arm supports the head as that top arm supports the body. In our fetal position, our posture of rebirth, let's just take one moment here. Just notice how the body feels, what the effect of our practice feels on the entirety of the body. Use that top arm to support yourself as you press back up to seated. Take your time. We meet one last time in our easy pose. Close the eyes down, draw the hands back together again at heart center. Thank you so much for joining me and sharing your practice and your time. I hope your body's feeling good, and I'll see you again soon. Namaste.